This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
So this is for anybody who is a licensed massage therapist who is thinking of broadening their horizons, maybe upping their game, and rewardingly helping a segment of our population that really needs more help. And that is the geriatric aspect of our population, growing more and more every day. And with that, they need support. They need massage. Got somebody here that offers training for that massage. It doesn't matter where you are. She works with people all over the country, all over the world as well. She is obviously a licensed massage therapist, author, and she is the person behind Daybreak Geriatric Massage Institute. Our professional of the year, Dawn Castiglione, back on the program with us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Steve. Thank you. How about you?
Real good. And
Good.
We're going to dig into something today that we haven't talked about. We talked about the lessons and how that all looks and the certification and everything involved. Marketing. Once you've done this, how do you let people know that you are certified in geriatric massage? Where should we begin today?
Well, first, let's begin with the fact that if you have no marketing experience, it's okay. Because after level 1 class, you will actually go home with a solid plan of steps to take to begin getting your name out there, getting yourself a presence in the right communities and a presence online if you prefer that. There are a host of ways that we can get the word out there, depending on where you would like to sort of set up camp, if you will, with this modality.
Why don't let's pick them in different categories. Why don't we start with, let's say, anything digitally connected in terms of your marketing? I got to imagine that social media would be a big one. Facebook and Instagram, right?
Mm-hmm. Facebook, Instagram, even LinkedIn, and maybe a little TikTok. That's just exploding right now.
Sure.
And as the children of those loved ones who will be getting this care are getting older, they are familiar with technology more than, let's say the 80 or 90-year-olds of today, because they were brought up with it. It was part of their upbringing and their everyday routine. So it's not out of the question to say, can I reach the right people, going onto social media and making a presence known for myself. That being said, we want to make sure that we don't go all tech and still do some of the tried and true person to person sort of, advertising or word of mouth, because after all, this is what we're about, creating the human touch again back into people's lives. And so what better way to do that than by being face to face with someone too? So there's a variety of ways to go, but we don't want to ignore any one of them.
100%. And it's my belief when it comes to marketing, when you do different things, so use different channels, and a channel could be social media. It could be reaching out to a municipality in a town or whatever it might be, but it's the multiplying effects of those efforts that make you look even better and like you are the go-to for this. So even looking at, let's say, social media, many people think, well, I started a Facebook account, I'm on Instagram, and I'm going to get some people to follow me and like me. I'll get my friends on there, which is all good. But unless you have a substantial amount, you kind of preach into the choir and more aren't going to be seen. So with that comes, and I'm getting, shut me up here because I got a passion for this, running ads. And you can either boost posts the simple way or run targeted ads. But even hitting that demographic that has parents who may be of geriatric age, let's say, 45 to, let's say, 55 or 60, right around that, that area, you could run ads for those people and even address even in the copy, actually address it. Your parents need this, with the right imagery. You don't even need a website. You could have that click back to your Facebook page, and everything right there. And minimal budget. I mean, just pick a small area, a couple of bucks, and see what you get from it. All right, I'll shut up now.
That's a great plan. Let's just put it in the curriculum.
There you go. Just a thought.
Yeah, it is nice that it's a low cost to no cost kind of approach. And it's something that, is more familiar to everyone overall as these decades go on. And so, but when you say like do an interview, let's just say what we're doing right now.
Sure.
I'm on a podcast.
Yep.
It's feasible to have yourself invited to a podcast that already exists, that has maybe an audience, built in for you. And then the non-tech way to do that would be to say, okay, I'm going to give a half-hour presentation at an assisted living facility or retirement community or whatever senior center. And that's both sides of the coin, getting the word out there. And as you said, we're going to appeal to different audience member types, and whatever sticks is where we're going to follow.
Sure.
And it may be different for different massage therapists and their locations as well.
I have to imagine if you're accepted to do a presentation at a facility, maybe a assisted living center, whatever it might be, I feel you're already halfway there. If they actually said, come on in, we want to hear what you have to say, and you can give that presentation to some of the residents, et cetera, that's golden. It's like,
yes.
Run with that one. Don't say no.
Well, either the wellness team at that facility has invited you, and that's really good because they believe in what you're doing as a health measure, not just a pampering session. Or the other person who could have invited you in would be an activities director who just want to have another guest come and educate their people and, entertain and give them new information, whatever. And so in either case, you really are presented with an opportunity to sort of become a family member of that community if you handle it right. So you show up on time, you involve the audience, you maybe do a giveaway, free 15-minute hand massage or whatever, if your ticket is drawn or whatever. So you just handle it right. And I did not have copious amounts of confidence when I did this. I just did what Sharon Pushko told us to do. I went home and didn't know any better. Okay, I'm going to make a portfolio and I'm going to march into the place that I envision myself working. And they did invite me for a presentation.
And thank you for saying that, because it can be very uncomfortable. Let's say you've never spoken to the public and things like that. Yeah. But also to literally and figuratively touch the audience. I love that idea of even giving, a free massage, whatever it might be, or maybe even bringing somebody from the audience. Do we have a participant here? Not going to hurt. Actually going to feel good. Anybody want to come? I want to show you exactly what we do and how, I'm going hypothetical here, how the light touch can make such a difference in feeling good mentally and also physically, like we talked about, lymph drainage. Just even light movement can be such a big thing. I think that is if you were, I'm not going to be wrong here, but if you're able to do that during a presentation, you break the ice. Yours, because now that's, what you're doing. And then also the audience, they feel like you're connected. I don't know. What do you think?
That's very true. It's very true. And whenever you have created a moment like that they can now look back on and say, oh yeah, remember when that person came, and whatever it is that they took away from it, it sticks with them because you're in person, you're one-on-one, and you've touched them, like you say, emotionally, physically. Ask for a volunteer. I wasn't so sure if anyone would be interested in coming forward or if they'd be scared, a little timid about the whole thing. So I brought my own little demonstration model with me.
Perfect.
To my first presentation. And she was a dear, dear friend that I had sung in the chorus with for 20 years, that we talked about, and she was gung ho for my new profession. She wanted to support me any way that she could, so I brought her along with me, and I set up the massage table ahead of time, and she was sitting on the table. And when I was at the point in the conversation, the presentation, that I was going to lay hands on her and perform a demo sequence, she said, I have a question. Little 90-something-year-old Marilyn, I have a question. I said, yes, Marilyn. And I had no idea what she was going to ask me. And she said, do I have to take all my clothes off to do this? And I said, actually, that's the beauty of this. No, you do not have to. And she said, darn it. So, unknowingly, she definitely created that instant rapport with the audience that you so desperately want. So everyone was comfortable, everyone was happy, and now we're going to do this. Well, as soon as she, kind of went into the place where she goes with her face, knowing that she's enjoying what I'm doing and feeling the benefits of what I'm doing, the audience members wanted to volunteer.
Wow.
And so I had both, because I brought one and suggested it. More people raised their hand. And
if
said,
you
okay,
have that person available, it's golden. And, people, it's hard to break the ice, even like doing morning radio shows. There have been times where we have topics where, we've had somebody from the other room call in just to be on. And then other people start, because they feel, oh, it's comfortable. I feel better now. Yeah, critical. If you can do that, that's genius to get somebody, to come along with you.
Yeah. Even bring your mom.
Sure.
Whoever it takes to just kind of help you break the ice. It is a very wonderful opener. And speaking of bring your mom, I didn't bring my mom to that presentation, but when I came home from the class, the level 1 class, and I was creating my portfolio the way we were taught, there was a segment in the portfolio that was for reference letters. And you might think, oh my gosh, how am I going to get somebody important on letterhead to say that I'm wonderful when I am just beginning this? And so here's the good news, is that it doesn't have to be on letterhead. It doesn't have to be someone who's well known in the industry or anything like that. I went home and I massaged my mom, and I said, Mom, I need to practice, and then I'm going to want your feedback. And she gave me a little bit of feedback verbally. But I said, can you write your thoughts down just so I have a takeaway that I can work on? Well, she wrote her thoughts down in the form of a thank you note to me. And I had my first reference letter. Wow. I just photocopied her sweet little note that had a thank you flower at the top. And there it was in my portfolio. So literally, you can make this happen for yourself.
Yeah. It doesn't matter that it's your mom. It's somebody who found value and benefit from what you did. And that's what counts. That's truth. There it is. Doesn't matter who it is. What are some of the other things that we should hit upon today to get the word out about somebody being certified for geriatric massage?
Well, more marketing or
marketing. Yeah.
So, if you do find yourself drawn to a place that is a retirement community, take advantage of some of the things that they already have in place for getting the word out. They have a monthly newsletter, and the centerfold of that newsletter is the entire month calendar with every, instance of bingo and chair exercise class and movie night and whatever that they have going on during the month. So that is a vital piece of paper, that they keep handy all month. So wouldn't it be neat if your picture was there and it said, so-and-so is going to come and give a presentation to us on February 8th. There you go. Now you're already somewhere in writing with them in their apartments or their rooms. And, it's a constant reminder for them. And then once you establish yourself there or just get the okay to begin, laying roots can be, a really easy thing to do when they already have those methods in place as well. So you can always contact the newsletter person and say, can I just write a big, kind of a small blurb under my picture about who I am, where I came from, or why this is important to me?
Yep.
And they're always looking for an article to fill that spot or a little human
Oh,
interest story.
yes, like a spotlight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why massage is important for older folks.
Mm-hmm.
Everything we talk about here. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
You just gave me another idea. Let's say you're involved in your church organization.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of seniors go to church and enjoy it. So maybe make connections in that group, or maybe for minimal expense, be part of the church bulletin, where in the back a little tiny ad, but have to carefully craft the wording to show that this is, like you said before, this is not about recreational massage. This is massage for better health, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just pick your words carefully because you only got a little bit of space there.
Exactly. Or if you design your business card after leaving level 1 class, then you can think of that, having that in mind. What would my business card look like if I had to get to the point,
Yeah.
welcoming, but, informational, if I was going to put my business card in a church bulletin, for instance? Yeah.
Sure. Well, it also comes along the same line if you join a networking group,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of them meet once a week. You're somewhere. And I will add to this. I do it. I used to network a lot for some of the other projects I have. Kind of stopped after COVID, then got back into it. And I'm actually starting a higher level networking group next week here in the New York area. Not even kidding. But here's the deal. There has been many times where I've gone to them and there are people from assisted living facilities there. I see their faces right now. The two women, I see them show up all the time. So if I was somebody that was certified, I'd be talking to them. But the reason I even brought that up is if you do networking, you typically have about 30 seconds within the group to get your message out there. So that's why, like you said, take the business card and choose your words properly so you can better explain what the benefits are and why this is so important for that community.
Yes. And if you don't have professionals just surrounding you in your life, that you can call and ask opinions, then just have a bunch of friends over for Domino's and say, look, this is my business card. What do you think?
Yeah.
And they might say, this is great. Or another person might say, yeah, but what if I was the child of the person? Or what if and they kind of look at it from different angles that you may not think of. And that will help you to narrow it down and make sure that, it's applicable in all the circles you want to reach out to.
Love that. Yeah. There really are a lot of different ways to get the word out there. Once you're be a little strategic, spend a couple of hours thinking, like we're talking here, like the church bulletin. Oh, it just popped in my head, spawned from what we're talking about. And my thoughts was it's an older community that, that a lot consistently goes to church. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anything else we didn't hit upon?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, my mom lived during that time at a senior apartment. There was no care given there. It was just, you have to be 55 plus to move in there. And so okay, I'm going to drop off the rent check for her. I'm going to ask the gal in the office there, would it be okay for me to just put a flyer up on your bulletin board in the mailroom? She said, oh, of course, that, we want people to know that you're available. So even as something as simple as that is going to make a big impact, and it's in your neighborhood anyway. Wouldn't it be great if you just set up your table once and you had like 5-6 people come in a day?
So we're talking in that situation, 55 plus. In your eyes, what is the age, starting age for this type of massage? Of course, anybody can go get, therapeutic massage, but how do we define, geriatric massage?
That's a really good question. And we do spend some time in level 1 talking about just that topic, because as the decades have gone on, we see younger people presenting with the same kind of body issues, illness, chronic degenerative conditions that only the older folks used to,
Yep.
develop. And so it's hard to say that there's an age. There's more of a body type. So instead of saying, oh, well, this is age appropriate massage, what does that mean anymore? You could have a 30-year-old with severe diabetes and edema and, issues like that. And you could have a 95-year-old who still goes out to play golf once a month with the
Sure.
gals,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So yeah, it's almost where I don't want to say the word geriatric on a business card.
I was just thinking the same exact thing.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Just kind of come up with some options like, for a therapeutic massage for seniors or
Yes.
therapeutic massage, period. Because there are really so many avenues. One of the avenues that I went to that I did not know if anything would come of it, and I was introduced to different age brackets there, was a Parkinson's walkathon. They get together once a year and they have a walkathon to raise money for research for Parkinson's. One of the guys in the chorus I directed said, hey, you should get a booth. Here's a phone number. And I was like, okay, I mean, I can pursue that. What's going to come of it, I don't know. And so I did. I called and I said, how much is a booth? And, one thing leads to another. And they want me to talk at the microphone for 5 minutes before the whole event starts about Parkinson's and massage. And so I did.
Wow.
And that day I made 2 or 3 really long-term contacts with people who have been clients for years with Parkinson's.
That's the way it works. Just getting yourself out there. And yeah, I didn't even think about the charitable angle where you could offer, let's say there is a charity organization doing something, maybe of somebody, whatever, there's tons of them. Of course, just make sure that they truly are maybe a 501c3 organization, but for their raffle, you could offer your time. What are we talking about here? An hour. But if you've got the opportunity to get the word out, or maybe you can, grab the microphone. And we're giving a, therapeutic massage. Dawn, what is this all about? You got a minute on the mic, whatever it might be. And I know it can be uneasy, speaking in front of a crowd, but they always say it's the easiest thing to talk about is yourself because you know it so well. Nobody else knows it like you do, or what you do, your craft. Massage. You're a certified massage therapist. You just went through this certification with you for this. Maybe it's, more than level 1. You know what you're talking about. Rock it. Grab that mic and smile and talk about it.
Right. And it's your passion too. Not
Sure,
just
yes.
I know myself, but I know my passion. And that really comes out. If you can just put 3 things on a piece of paper that signify your passion, then you just look at that paper and say, okay, I'm moving on to the next thing. And, like you said, even if it's a minute at the mic, it's going to make that difference.
The one thing that my takeaway many times when we get together here is that this is so important in terms of your health. And if you can get that message out there that it is therapeutic and what's actually going on in our bodies, or especially older folks, what's happening there with lymphatic fluid, them not moving a lot, it being stagnant, and why it's so important to keep moving, whether they're physically doing it or you're doing it for them. I've learned so much from you. I even share with others. I'm not even kidding. Finding out about this, I didn't realize what's happening within our bodies, especially as we age. If you can get that message out there in a short way, it's a win.
Right. And there's nothing more satisfying than, as an audience member, than hearing that they're not just processing my body in the session, but they are caring for my spirit too. And so that aspect of isolation being combated by this, human touch, human contact, a conversation before the massage. Did your grandson graduate college last weekend, like you said, and how did that go? And, just that human element, I think, is all important in this modality, whether it's an elderly person or, it could just be someone young who's isolated. It could be someone who's not sighted. Let's say a blind person is a little leery about massage
Mm.
and, oh my gosh, but I wish I could. This is a way to kind of break that ice. Or someone who's deaf, your demeanor in delivering the massage and in starting that relationship before massage is going to speak very loudly to them, and you may open your practice to an amazing group of individuals, who old or not old, that you never imagined.
Mm. It's more than just massage, isn't it?
It is.
Right?
Yeah.
For a second there, it reminded me of um, you go to get your hair cut, once every, whatever, 3, 4, 6 weeks, whatever. You've established the relationship with that person. And many times they know what's going on in your life. So they'll even say, hey, how's blank going? And you might even ask of them. It's kind of the same thing in a way,
It kind of is. And people joke about my hairstylist is my therapist all the time, but it's kind of true in a way, because anytime we get to share and have an exchange
Yep.
and learn from each other, it is therapy. It is a form of therapy, and so that
Yeah.
translates into their massage appointment as well, and the music aspect of it too. There are so many elements
Ooh.
that really serve as a therapy, that I can say therapeutic massage and mean it in many different ways, and it's all true and something we have to offer.
I didn't even think about the music connection and all of that going on there. And we talked about that before. Wow. Great conversation. There's so many different things that anybody can do to get the word out there. Like anything, it requires some work. But when you start connecting with these centers, you're going to start getting traction, because I believe they're looking for you just like you're looking for them.
And just like you said, an hour of your time volunteered for something can produce ripples in the water that, land you in a position you never even knew existed, for, setting up a career, for setting up relationships, for
Right.
whatever.
Imagine this final thought, and it depends on what your goals are. But let's say you're somebody that, you worked in a salon, it was okay, but you wanted more. This is something more within your passion for helping others through massage. Imagine if you got hired on staff at one of these facilities. That's your job. If that aligns with you making those connections, so now it's not them calling you in per massage. Now you're on staff. You never know what could happen when you make those connections,
That's right. That's right. And the nice part about being sort of, setting up camp in one location at a place,
Yep.
is that you have an instant, draw from all the people who live there all the time. And there are family members who will come for, let's say, Mother's Day brunch or Easter or whatever. You can do the same thing, set up a table and a chair outside the dining room while they're all waiting for those big doors to open for brunch. You can give free hand massage and meet people and talk to people.
Wow. Wow. I didn't even think of that. As I'm scanning my brain here as we're talking, in a 12-mile radius, I can easily count 6, and I'm probably undercounting, facilities. Assisted living, could be nursing facility for older folks. Like, I'm talking, I'm not exaggerating where I am. And I'm not in a city, I'm in a suburb of New York City. Just like that. And I know I'm missing some. It's probably more like 10 in just that radius. And when you start thinking about it, they're out there. Why? Because of our population is aging.
And it's probably more like 20 even.
Probably.
Just because we have skilled nursing facilities where people are just rehabbing, they're there temporarily.
Oh my gosh, I thought of another 3. I'm being, and as a matter of fact, the reason I thought of that was my really good friend's mom is in one right now because she took a fall.
Oh, yeah.
And that's probably the closest one to my house, and I totally forgot about it. And she's actually going to see her mom today. Yeah, you're right. They're all over the place. How do we start the process, Dawn?
Well, it's a simple little visit to the website. Our website is daybreak-massage.com. And we do have a contact us page there, and just type in your name and your information, and I will be more than happy to give you a personal call on the actual phone and chat with you about how to get signed up for the class. Or if you already know that this is something you want to do, you can just register right on the website. There's an enrollment page there as well, and lots of other information on the website about who we are, what we do, and why we do it.
My intuition tells me in the very near future, a lot of these, I don't mean this as a pun, but it fits, personal touch points are going to elevate, because we're at a point in our society that everything is impersonal, everything is digital. You don't really connect with people anymore. And I feel that we're over it, like we're revolting, because a lot of the things from our past are coming back. Young people now in their 20s are using cameras, not their phone.
Oh, yeah, and vinyl records.
And records, and people are using actual notebooks to get away from digital, just to go back to have some kind of connection with humanity, as opposed to everything AI, robotic. And this is one of them where we want to, connect with others. It got lost.
Yes, and even just in the simple act of reading a book, people who say, I like to touch the book and turn the pages.
That's back too.
Yeah.
That's back too. Imagine
Exactly.
that. Yeah. Great talking with you, Dawn. Thank you for everything you do and what you offer. And looking forward next time we get together.
Thank you, me as well. Have a good day.
You too. We'll be right back.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.